Good evening, friends, and welcome to the Temple of Light Center for Spiritual Living. I'm Sandra Cooper, religious science practitioner, and it is my pleasure to support each and every one of us in our spiritual growth this evening. We are going to have a few moments of quiet meditation to start, and then I will do an affirmative prayer just to bless our proceedings as we move forward. So I invite you now to just take a deep breath in and exhale. We are really grateful for the opportunity to be here. And as we just sort of spend these quiet moments in meditation, maybe about 5 minutes or so, I'm just gonna, give us some music in the background to just allow ourselves to release some of the challenges that this day might have brought. So just take a deep breath in. And exhale. So deep breath in and exhale. Breathe in deeply again and exhale. And as the music plays softly in the background, just allow yourselves to settle in the space. Just become relaxed in your chairs. Allowing your arms to hang just limply by your sides. Have your feet flat on the floor. And just for a few moments, just be present to the inhale and the exhale of your breath. So as we once again become present to the breath, breathing in and breathing out, we'll allow our consciousness to return to this present space. Just become aware of the chair in which you are sitting, the strains of the music, maybe the whirring of the fan in your room. And in this conscious awareness, let us just know together that there is one presence and one power that we know as God. It is that in which we live and move and have our perfect being. It is that which guides and guards and protects us in all things and in all circumstances. It is that healing presence that makes all things new. It is that which is the convener of this Tuesday evening spiritual mind healing service. It is every person who is present here on Zoom, everyone who is joining us on YouTube, and anyone anywhere who is present in consciousness. We know that wherever we are, God is and all is well. And so we acknowledge this truth this evening, knowing that it's this time together is a very blessed and awesome time as we share together and more deeply understand the truths of life, which truly set us free. And so in a consciousness of deep gratitude, I release my word now to that law which makes it our perfect and divine experience. And so I give thanks as I rejoice and just let all this be so now. And so it is. Amen. Amen. And amen. Oh. So friends, I'm just going to make sure that you all can hear me. Are you hearing me? I might have to take off.
Yes, I hear you.
Awesome, great. Okay. So friends, this is a new day. And I want to ask you before I begin, can you remember, as you reflect on Easter time, can you remember, well, let me just share my experience first. Somehow or other, the parents seem to feel that we were worst behaved during this time. For example, this is where we got into the most trouble, into the most mischief during Easter time. And so the whole business of sin was very, very strong with me. I mean, teething out the bun, the mixture of the bun from out of the pan. I mean, of course, mommy would say, did you go into the pan? And of course, the answer was no. But then you'd have smears of bun batter all over our mouths. So clearly that did not land so well. So it is a time of year where I heard a lot about sin. And as I was reflecting on this time, I remember, of course, during this time, I was told I was a bad little girl. I was rude and I was sneaking. And anything I did that was contrary to what the parents wanted was deemed a sin. And some kind of punishment would be forthcoming. And there was no hiding from God's watchful eyes ever, you know. So it really was a hard time for me to be a child. during that period. The one saving grace was the Easter story, which spelled redemption. I wouldn't have to worry about hell ever again because Jesus died on the cross so that I would be saved. At least that's how I got it. Well, thank God for truth. I learned so much about so much and developed a whole different point of view about the Easter story. And so I thought that this evening might be a good time to shed some light on the idea of sin and redemption. So my message this evening is entitled, Rated R for Redemption. Now, the science of mind emphasizes the power of thought, the interconnectedness of all life, and the role of consciousness in shaping our reality. We see redemption in this teaching as from a perspective that focuses on spiritual empowerment, self-realization, and the transformative power of love and consciousness. In our teaching, redemption is seen as a process of awakening to one's true nature as a spiritual being, realizing that there is the inherent divinity that we have within ourselves. And we need to be aligning our thoughts, our beliefs, and our actions with spiritual principles. This is not just a Sunday morning comment. Yes, that makes sense. But there has to be some work that we do to align our thoughts, beliefs, and actions with these principles that we're learning. Consider some of the following ideas. Science of mind teaches that every one of us is inherently divine. We are the wave and God is the ocean. You can't separate the ocean from the wave. So if God is divine, then so am I. Redemption involves recognizing and embracing this divine nature that we have, transcending limiting beliefs and illusions of separation, and realizing our innate connection to God. Another thing is that our thoughts have creative power. This is really one of the biggest lessons that I learned. And our thoughts influence or have influence over our experiences. Redemption involves consciously choosing empowering thoughts, releasing negative patterns of thinking, and affirming our inherent worthiness and wholeness. The third thing is that we emphasize the law of cause and effect, also known as the law of mind in action. Redemption involves taking responsibility for our thoughts, beliefs, and actions, understanding that they create corresponding effects in our lives. By aligning with spiritual principles and practicing spiritual mindfulness, we can bring about positive transformation and redemption in our lives. Now, in the science of mind, redemption is also includes the process of healing and wholeness at all levels: physical, the mental, the emotional, and the spiritual. Through practices such as affirmative prayer, meditation, and spiritual mind healing treatments, we can release limitations, heal past wounds, and experience a greater sense of inner peace, harmony, and well-being. The next thing is love. Oh boy, love. I was having lunch with a friend today, and she was sharing with me about a situation in a relationship that she just had with somebody over many, many years. And this was like 25 years ago that had a wonderful, steamy romance. And now, and the relationship ended and they went their separate ways. And then they found each other again. So something came to me when I said to her, well, back then was the icing on the cake. Now you're building the cake. You're putting the ingredients together to make the cake. And so it will be a lot sweeter and a lot deeper and a lot more exciting for her. Oh, I was so happy for her. So it's, we come back to love as a foundational principle in the science of mind philosophy. Redemption involves cultivating a deep sense of love and compassion for both ourselves and for others, recognizing that love is the ultimate transformative power, and it can dissolve barriers, heal divisions, and bring about greater unity and harmony in the world. Now, in traditional Christian doctrine, Redemption refers to the act of being saved or delivered from sin, evil, or suffering. You know, I mean, I heard stories about being a hopeless sinner. So Jesus now offered himself as a sacrifice for the redemption of mankind. But I want you to just know that in our teaching, redemption is about awakening to our divine nature, about transforming our consciousness and aligning with spiritual principles. And it's really something that we do of our own will, right? And by aligning with spiritual principles, we're able to experience healing, empowerment, and a deeper connection to the source of life. So, you know, we have lots of wonderful practices here at the temple. And we can use these practices to, you know, at a deep spiritual level to experience redemption. Of course, one is forgiveness. Forgiveness is always at the top of every list. When you can forgive yourself and others from any past perceived wrongdoings or mistakes, it will allow you to just drop the guilt and the shame and to move forward with a sense of renewed purpose and clarity. We talked about transformation. So where we strive to overcome our flaws and to cultivate virtues, to live by values, you know, that will make a big difference. Healing, we talked about healing. Redemption can bring healing to the experience of trauma. Something might have happened back in the past that might still be with you a little bit, but the work that we do can bring healing to that and create a path to inner peace, resilience, and emotional well-being. Prayer, of course, which allows you to communicate with the indwelling presence, to seek guidance and express gratitude. Through prayer, we can cultivate a deeper connection with the divine and experience that sense of spiritual renewal. There's meditation, which will help to quiet the mind. You know, we have this monkey mind where we're always all over the place in the past and worrying about the future. And in meditation, we can cultivate mindfulness and explore our inner landscape. You know, meditation allows us to self-reflect, and it brings about emotional healing and spiritual growth, of course, leading to greater inner peace. Of course, there are acts of compassion, kindness, and service. I find that whenever I serve, it brings me great joy, and that joy is like salve to a wound. So serving is wonderful, and it you know, when we can help those in need and practice empathy and generosity, you know, it allows us to cultivate virtues like love and humility and forgiveness. The last one here is self-reflection and improvement. I am always looking at what did I do? How can I do it better? What did I do wrong? How can I correct that? So I always give myself time to self-reflect. And so when we engage in those kinds of practices, you know, we can journal, we can introspect, we can self-examine. It will help us to identify where we need to grow, to acknowledge perhaps our past mistakes and work towards becoming our best selves. You know, I hope that you've been thinking about this idea of redemption in your life as we've moved on. And I want to close with a very short video someone sent me. And it, for me, demonstrates the power of really how redemption works in a very graphic way. So that no matter how out of whack and how confusing things might seem to be, there's always the return to center. I'm gonna click on the link and let me hear it. Let me know if the sound comes up for you. Vance, you can let me know. Just 1 second here.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Are you hearing? Are you hearing the did you hear the video when it started, guys?
Yes.
Okay, all right, let me continue. So please take some notes and I really look forward to your comments as we complete.
This piece I want to share with you is actually not just a trick or a puzzle to be solved, but rather a nice story that I want to share with you. It's a story that might teach you how to master the mystery of life. You see, just as many things in life, this old letter case is only a total of many different objects of unique size and shape, and only by a harmonic arrangement of these pieces they form a unique composition we may call life. And most importantly, everything fits perfectly within the framework of our lives. Now, you could name each of these pieces individually, maybe a solid base, a happy childhood perhaps, or a proper education, your own hopes and fears, your beliefs and memories, probably good friends and family in the center of the arrangement, and maybe even some decisions that you regret. But actually, it's not so important which meaning you give to these pieces. Much more interesting is this process. What happens if suddenly one of these pieces that defines us starts to tumble? Well, of course, we adapt. And sometimes we even have to make some basic changes. But if all these pieces work well together, then it is always possible to form a unit. And once again, to keep But life is never that easy, and destiny always has new challenges for us. But you could say that from time to time, destiny brings us something new that we have to arrange with. But how to include this new element into our perfect composition? I mean, every space is filled and it is already well stuck. So this whole unit slowly starts to crack under the pressure of the new experience, and sometimes it even all breaks down into pieces. Midlife crisis, quarter life crisis, or something in between, and we have to ask ourselves, how do we find that harmonic shape again? Well, with a little self-reflection and patience, with self-confidence and effort, it is possible to integrate any new piece into this arrangement and still form that wonderful shape that makes it very there's a series of challenges, more and more challenging, and it had always new things for us, sometimes even bigger and more unexpected than we are prepared to handle. But, you know, to conquer these challenges, all we have to do is sometimes change our point of view to see things differently in order to come up with a solution. And now perhaps you understand that it's not about the size or the position of these pieces, nor about the significance we place in them, but rather about this harmonic composition they form. And of course, most importantly, that everything fits perfectly within the framework of our
Mhm. Okay, let me just come from here for a while. Oops. So before we close, what were some of the what was a major lesson in that exercise for you? You can jot your comment in YouTube or open up the mic, guys, and share. What is your aha from this exercise, from that demonstration, especially as it relates to redemption? Hmm. Oh, I hear that you were not seeing you were not seeing the video. Oh, I am so sorry. Oh, and the whole point of this exercise was the video. I'm going to put the link in the chat, and I want you guys to look at it afterwards. Are you hearing me now?
Yeah, we're hearing.
I don't know why that happened, Vance.
I don't know. Did you click on video in the sharing?
Oh, duh. No, I did not. I had audio, so that's why you were here. If I click on video, will you hear the audio?
Yeah, we get both audio and the visual.
All right, because it's what he says that really, really makes a difference. Would you guys want to see it again? Because it's what he says about the pieces that fit together that make such a big difference. I have time, so it only takes 5 minutes. Carol, say your signal was in or out. Anybody has an issue with the signal? Or maybe it's just you, Carol. Oh, all right, let's try again. Let me know now if you hear both sound. I wish somebody had stopped me before. Put everything in divine order.
Thank you. Nice to be here. This piece.
Are you hearing both sound and seeing the video now?
No, the video is not sharing.
The video is not sharing. All right,
I want to share with you is actually not just.
All right, let's do this then. Yes. No, all right, let me just forget it. I'm really sorry about that, guys. What happened is that he had these little pieces of items, and he was just sharing the story that sometimes our lives it may seem quite orderly at one point, but things get pulled out of whack. But somehow we managed to get the pieces back together. And then the last point he made is that sometimes we just have to change our perspective. So you move one thing from one place to another. It might not seem to fit, but you move things over a little bit and everything fits right back into the box. Boy, I had such grand plans for this video and what it would have and the lessons it taught. For me personally, that frame represents always the presence of God. And no matter what happens in my life, no matter how the pieces might seem to move up and down and around, it always fits back. Right? So let me ask a different question then. Seeing that we know we're going to put the video out, see? But in my box is the opportunity to still look at what happens when one of the pieces of our lives gets thrown out of whack. Like now, video didn't work, you all didn't see the video. Point of the whole exercise, totally gone. But how do I bring it back? How do I put it back into the box and realize within my own self that it was okay? That whatever happened was how it was supposed to happen. Carol, you say you saw it before. You have sound, you can open up and give us a sense of what was the aha for you in that video?
Yes, I did see it just last week, I believe, or earlier this week. But what I got from the video was really, no matter what, there is a way to make it fit back together. And it doesn't matter if you have to move the circumstances around or to look differently at them, turn them upside down, investigate, examine. In the end, it will always work out.
Mm-hmm.
And a friend of mine has always said, everything works out in the end, and if it's not worked out, it's not the end. So
everything works out in the end, and if it hasn't worked out yet, it's not the end. Love that.
Yes. So that's kind of the video kind of reminded me of that, because when something slips out of place, you can accommodate that by how you manage the rest of the stuff that's going on. So that can apply to the circumstances of your life. If one thing happens to not be working the way you expect it to work, you have choice. You always have choice, and more than one choice. You can choose to eliminate that part of it, or you can choose to allow the rest of your life to accommodate that change, or you can simply find a different way to position that change.
Mm-hmm. And one thing for sure, Carol, is that we're going to be always having change.
Exactly.
I mean, right now, the church is going through change, and pieces are being shifted.
Yep.
New pieces are being added. But at the end of the day, the frame is that we are the Temple of Light Center for Spiritual Living, and we are providing a service and part of a community that is helping to make a world that works for everyone.
Yeah. And if that means moving the parts around, and there are many moving parts, that means moving the parts around and repositioning them differently in relationship to other parts.
Mm-hmm.
Then it doesn't matter as long as it works out in the end.
Mm-hmm.
Because change is not something that we can avoid.
So I remember when he put that new little square on the top of the pieces. This is a brand new square. So everything in your life is completely in order. All pieces fit. And then he takes this little square and he just pushes it, and everything just breaks apart.
Right.
What do you do? Not you, Carol, anybody else. What do you do when a new piece seems to interfere with your well-organized and well-structured life? Somebody comes in and stay with you for a couple of days, and they end up spending 6 months.
That's happened too.
Right? Or there's a money challenge. I have a very, very close male friend who last year sometime, his wife had a stroke. And this is a man who has some financial means. Wife had a stroke, and so yesterday was his birthday as well, along with our Dr. Sonia. And I called to wish him happy birthday. And we usually have a lunch maybe once every few months or so. And I've heard from him in a long, long time. And he said, Sandy, I can't afford to carry you for lunch now. My resources went to take care of his wife. So you think everything is fine and honky-dory. He was very proud of his investments. And then Dolly House mash up. But this is a man who has strong faith. So I'd love to hear some more from you. What happens when a new piece comes and pushes itself into your life and disrupts the well-planned and well-put-together piece that you have to get as your life? What do you do?
Hi, Sandy. This is Jen.
Hi, Jen.
You roll with the punches, because really and truly, You said it yourself. If you're standing upright, you're still here upright and standing, then it means that you're alive and can work it out. You can do something. As you go through, you work through the changes. But as you mentioned, the thing about everything is always working out. Carol said that in the end, and if it's not the end, there is an affirmation too that I use. It's a little video. You can do it on YouTube from the Hicks, Abraham Hicks. And it's called Everything is Always Working Out for Me. And just, tools, things that you can use to reaffirm yourself and what you're going through and to deal with it. And I listen to that for the most part, like every morning. And I just buy into that thing. Everything is always working out for me. You have to.
And so let me be Angel's advocate now. What about those of us who perhaps it might make intellectual sense, all of this. But when you are feeling the discomfort of, like my friend whose wife got a stroke, or someone who has serious, you were, I remember someone who was terminated. The position was made redundant. And it put them into chaos, and they weren't with the organization very long, so they didn't have no whole heap of redundancy money to collect. What happens when you're in that so-called valley of the shadow and you can't think about an affirmation, or you can't think about, going into that deeper place of consciousness to rise above it? What do we tell these folks?
Psalm 23. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow, it is only a shadow. Most people know Psalm 23.
Definitely.
Jennifer, I'm hearing you, but I think for most people there's a space between the event and getting to that. And I think those of us who have some training and that kind of stuff can probably move quicker from the event to the affirmation, to the prayer. I think some consideration needs to be given to those people who are down in the valley and they're down in the bottom of the pit and they can't really see a way out yet. And you can't deny that they're down in the pit.
No, me not denying it, Carol, because there is value in the valley. Me not denying it at all. All I'm saying is we're down there. Just keep looking up. It's my scriptures that I use. Everybody's gonna use something different. I will lift up my eyes onto the hills. Those are not affirmations. Those are scriptures I learned as a child. That's it.
What I'm hearing Carol say though, it takes a level of spiritual fortitude to be able to even grab the scripture, to say the 23rd Psalm, or to go to one of those quotes. What does one do? No matter how short that time is. There are times when I'm just, as a practitioner, I remember times when Kevin was away, and it was absolute panic, and all I knew did not come into my consciousness at all when I had certain issues to deal with regards to Kevin being overseas. And it took me a while, maybe the next day, the next morning. So for me, the recovery time is shorter. But in that space, and I go to my bed and I can't sleep. What do we tell persons? At the end of the day, I'm going to recover, But there are persons who perhaps can't grab their self, that they can't grab the affirmation or the prayer. Carol says, Carol Charlton says, be still, we'll just open it up back. Be still and know. Be still, don't fight.
And I will also say call a friend.
That too, call a practitioner.
No, I wouldn't even call a practitioner, call a friend.
But I think for most people, that is more feasible than, trying to remember an affirmation, a prayer, or whatever. When you have, crocodile nipping at your heels, you want somebody to reach out to.
Mm-hmm.
But there's one thing I also want to remind us, that we must always be prayed up. because we're not supposed to just wait till when the trouble take us, that the picnic shot is going to fit us. We're prayed up in that, as I shared with you about that, listening to that YouTube thing. Sometimes there's nothing that I am working on that needs to work out for me, but I just keep using it. And the more you reinforce these things, when the trouble come and the time come, you'll be still and know, as Carol said, and you will know exactly what you need to do. So if I have to call a friend, you're on those game show and they say what you want to do, call a friend, whatever, you will be guided. That's what I know.
So it's important. One of the things I've come to realize in working with people is to not take for granted where people are at, or to make assumptions about where they should be at, or what. I mean, I've met some folks who are practicing active Christians, perhaps, and when adversity presents, you'd be surprised to hear of the things that they might say and the things that they might do, totally forgetting the learning, the spiritual practices that they engage in, etc. And so maybe one of the first things I would suggest for all of us, for myself included, is awareness. So just be aware. It's like you're getting a fever, because you start to feel chilly. When I'm getting the flu, I know because my throat starts to stick me. Van says, remember also, we always have a prayer. Yeah. And so when I feel that tickly throat, I know what to do right away. But sometimes things are so overwhelming. But I want us to get this teaching has practices that we can engage in order to overcome and navigate through that proverbial valley of the shadow. So and that is where our redemption lies. Carol?
It is exactly what Jennifer, I think, is trying to say.
Yes.
That you just have to have these quote unquote weapons always at ready to strike. And sometimes when it's happening, you can't do anything. You're almost immobilized. You just have to be still and just wait out until you get to a spot where the prayer can come through or the affirmation can come through.
Okay.
That is why I said earlier, don't fight. Because if you start fighting, you get all tied up and you get immobilized.
I agree 100%, Carol.
Yeah, absolutely. All right.
Oh,
So
that is very true. Yes.
What, Carol?
I said that's very true.
Yeah.
If a dog is coming at you, if you run, the dog will run after you and bite you.
I stand up one place and dog bite me same way.
Well, I managed to steer down a dog. So, but it's just an analogy. Right?
Gotcha. All right. So I think maybe now would be a good time for us to go to our request for prayer. Anything on YouTube, Shima? Vance? Or any requests coming out of this group? Carol?
Who, me?
I thought you said
No.
maybe it was I heard
Yawning. But you could always treat for right action.
right action indeed. Oh dear, I understand perfectly. Okay, Carol. Anything else coming online, Vance?
No, not seen anything yet, Sandy.
Okay. I miss Dawn Williams this evening. So let us just pool our consciousness together in an affirmative prayer of right action for Carol and for anyone else who is open and receptive to these words. We recognize our divine, the divine presence and power that we know as God. It is that which expresses as each one of us as individuals here. It is that which expresses as Carol and everyone else who is open and receptive to these words of right action. So in this consciousness, I declare and know that there's a perfect order to everything that is taking place in our lives, in, through, and as our lives. I know that every work situation, every home or family situation, every relationship situation is unfolding in perfect right action. I know that whatever is required for us to fully obtain and express the desires of our hearts, those resources are provided, whether it is financial, money required to purchase goods or to travel or to do whatever it is we want to do, whether it is the people that we draw into our lives to provide services, to give us ideas, to listen, to allow us to express our deepest heartfelt feelings and thoughts, whether it is material resources required to do what we need to do. We know that all of it comes from that inexhaustible storehouse that is God. And we acknowledge this source. We know that it comes and flows to us, through us, as us. Even before we ask, it is given. And so I know for each one of us that our consciousness is vibrating in perfect alignment with all that we desire. In work, in play, in relationship, in every aspect of our affairs. Perfect right action is prevailing now. And so knowing this as a truth, I release these words with a sense of absolute acceptance that the law of mind acts upon them and just make them our divine and perfect experience now. I rejoice that this is so, and so it is.
And so it is.
It is. Any other requests? Okay.
Affirmative prayer of love for our country.
Love for our country. Wow. Wow. And let me just check the Christine, prayer for love, light, and peace for family and friends on the transition of our friend, wife, mother, and mentor. Okay. All right, Christine, I will add that to it. So love for our country. Let us recognize the God that crafted all life, all creation, that put these beautiful planets together. And we know that this our beautiful planet Earth is part of a wonderful larger system, our solar system. It's part of the universe. And as we come closer and closer, we know that on planet Earth is this beautiful little speck of paradise we call Jamaica. It is our home. It is that place that God just blessed and kissed and just declared that it is indeed paradise. And so each one of us that's here, that call ourselves Jamaican, I know that we are here by divine appointment. That by being here on this planet, in this space, in this time, we're very specially blessed. And so I declare that as we affirm and know who we are as Jamaicans, we open ourselves with us and our consciousness with a sense of love for that soil that we place our feet on. And we walk this soil with confidence, knowing that this land is my land. This is a land of our birth. This is a land that supports us and nurtures us. And so in this sense of, in the spirit of love for our country, and knowing that this love is that which permeates in and through and as every single nook and cranny of our country. It is that which just gives off healing and loving vibes. So everyone is engaging with every other one with a sense of love and joy and togetherness. And I'm knowing that love is a nature of our people. It's a nature of our country. It's a nature of every aspect of our being. And so I declare this sense of love now for our country. And as we love our country, we know our country loves us. And that sense of infinite love surrounds us, enfolds us, protects us, uplifts us, and inspires us in everything and in every way. I know this as a truth, as I now release these words with a full understanding and acceptance of the love that is ours by right of being. I truly give thanks that this is so, and so it is.
And so it is. Beautiful. Thank you, Sandy.
You are welcome. Go back to the chat. It was Christine, prayer of love, light, and peace. Okay. Wow. We know that there is one life, that life is God. That life is infinite. That life is eternal. And that life is a life of this loved one. This person who has made her transition into that realm of greater possibilities and expression. And so I know that she is soaring and flying on the wings of eagles, embracing her new experience. And for her family, her friends who are experiencing mourning at this time, I know that the divine presence is right where they are. This divine presence shows up as a kind word, as a loving embrace, as an understanding of the grief that they're experiencing. And also, this presence stands in the knowing that life is eternal, and that that sense of eternality is that which enfolds this family at this time and sheds upon it a sense of peace, a sense of light, a sense of love. And so even in the experience of grief, they are comforted. There's a sense of knowing that there is that within them, that within their loved one, that will take them through this experience and out on the other side with a sense of understanding and even joy. Because we know that wherever God is, all is truly, truly there. And so I truly give thanks for this experience of knowing that in the middle of grief, there is God, and the peace of God, the light of God, the love of God, and all is well. And so in this consciousness of peace and the blessed assurance that God is at the center of this family's experience at this time, I release my word with a sense of gratitude and love, knowing that these words are now fully and joyfully accomplished, whereunto they are spoken, and all is well. I give thanks that all this is so now, and so it is. Okay.
Sandy, thank you very much.
Good.
You're welcome, Christine. All right, let's now just look at, just come back to big. Friends, as we wrap up our spiritual mind healing service this evening, I want you to just be reminded of, we have a series of classes, and one of which is about to begin this Thursday, and it's called The Secret Door to Success with Florence. It's a book from Florence Scovel Shinn, and it starts this Thursday, the 14th, from 7 to 9. facilitated by Reverend Sonia and supported by Steve Golding, RSP, and Vance Gardner. And to sign up, to register, we invite you to just send a quick email or to classes.templeoflightcsl.org to register. It's going to be an amazing class. Oops. Let's go back to this. Okay. And we ask that this Sunday, do join Reverend Michelle this Sunday, which is this 17th, March 17th, for our Sunday morning love stream. We continue on the series up until now. And so I'm sure she's going to come with some amazing tidbits for us to just ponder. And that will really, really make a difference to our lives. Next week, Spiritual Mind Healing Service at 6. I think, Jennifer, you are going to be the speaker. Jennifer? I think I have
Yes,
it.
yes.
Oh.
I was having problems unmuting. I'll be
Okay,
the speaker.
got you.
Yes.
All right. And of course, friends, our work here is really, really sort of blessed by your kindness, by your love, by your support through your donations. And so we invite you to feel free to donate at donate.templeoflightcsl.org. And we truly thank you for being, for your generosity and for being a beacon, helping us to be a beacon of light for the world. And as you maybe choose now to hit that donate button, I invite you for us to say together the blessing. Lovingly I give,
Loving I give,
joyfully
joyfully
I
I
receive,
receive,
be
be
thou
thou
fruitful,
fruitful, increase,
and
and
multiply.
multiply.
Bless,
Bless,
prosper, and
prosper, and
enrich
enrich
everyone
everyone
who you touch and
and
replenish
replenish all of my
my
financial
financial
affairs.
affairs. Thank you, Father.
Thank you,
And
and
so
so it is.
And we can just pull our consciousness now to say together the prayer of our center. The Temple of Light, Center for Spiritual Living, is a sacred field embodying our spiritual community from which the Christ, peace, love, and joy emanate to touch, to heal, to bless, to prosper, and to liberate anyone who comes into contact with it in any way. The light of the Christ illumines us, our center, and our environment. Our spiritual community is filled with and surrounded by the presence of God and is growing from strength to strength. The power of God expands our consciousness of truth, guiding us ceaselessly along the paths of wisdom, spiritual growth, unfoldment, and attainment. We are blessed, and to God be the honor and the glory forever. And so it is. And the prayer of Jamaica. The radiant light of God's love is now flowing through us and from us to everything and everyone in touch with us. The eternal light of God's love now completely fills, covers, and surrounds our island, Jamaica. The glowing intensity of the light of God's love now interpenetrates and awakens within the hearts and minds of our countrymen and women the truths of life which set free. The light of God's love is growing and glowing in intensity in the hearts and minds of mankind everywhere. Love, health, harmony, goodwill, peace, uprightness, integrity, joy, prosperity, kindness, and our oneness under God are now established. And so it is. So we are truly grateful for this opportunity to have gathered together for another healing service experience. We truly are grateful for the rich conversation that took place. Truly are grateful for the persons who showed up to be part of this experience. We truly are grateful for that sense of knowing that wherever we are, whatever is occurring in our lives, there's always God, which is just a whisper away. And so we truly give thanks for the knowing that there's always comfort, there's always a sense of redemption. And so we choose and choose powerfully through prayer, through meditation, through the support of a practitioner, through a wonderful affirmation or uplifting scripture. We truly are grateful to know that we hold the handle of our own redemption. And so we give thanks for this truth. We give thanks to know that at the center of it all is that divine presence and power that guides us, sustains us, and provides for us in every way. And we draw from its wisdom and allow that wisdom to keep us firmly footed on the path of our growth, unfoldment, and our abundance. And so I give thanks now as I release these words, as we go on our separate ways. We go with love, we go with joy, we go with peace. And I know that all this is so now, and so it is. Thank you, friends. Thank you for coming, fellow practitioners. Thank you all for all of you who joined us.
Mhm.
And we look forward to seeing you with Jennifer, practitioner Jennifer, next week, Tuesday at 6 o'clock for our next spiritual mind healing service.
Thank
Namaste.
you, Cindy. Beautiful.
Bye, everybody.